Oh, the phone keeps going off. It's mucking up because everything is operated and controlled by both me and the Matrix, shall we say. Because, you know, that's just the way it is. Technology is only partially under our control in the Matrix, naturally. If you're in a technologically controlled reality, shall we say. That is, so I'm sorry that these videos are all disjointed and I may not, it's just that I'm not sure what I'm trying to do by making the videos. Maybe I'll just put Big Boy on a cat video. Probably get more views, wouldn't I, Dale? You know, this is Big Boy Cat that I've known for about 12 years and he lives a door or two down. But he doesn't actually, he lives there, but he doesn't live there in the sense that he spends more time up here. But at the same time, there he is near the fridge. That's his favourite, technological device, is a fridge. I shouldn't show it. My place is not good. But you see, it's the way of things. It's the way of my reality. Oh dear. But sorry that. But either way, you know, it's not my cat, shall we say. I've never chosen to actually have cats because I'm aware that I don't like that responsibility and don't want full-time responsibility of an animal. And I've shirked my responsibilities at personal levels my entire life. So an animal, I would not consciously choose to ever get one. But the Big Boy Cat is an outdoor cat, so he doesn't spend any time inside in his owner's place. In fact, I think they have a dog anyway. But if I could move all this rubbish away, then I could get the cat to get up here. You see, I've got OCD, but I've thrown a lot of it away because due to circumstances. That means that normally I wouldn't like animals on food benches and things, of course not, but I still have the OCD, as you can see by my trying to show here. This is embarrassing. By my gloves. I've got. Oh, there he is. He's got up. Even with that little bit of space, there's no room for him. He's still got up. Hold on. I'll take that down. Oh dear. Oh, I'll fix all that up later if I can. Hello. So there he is. Now, I'm stress making this. My hand is actually quite painful. I think the mobile doesn't help, although my hand is sore anyway. You know, mobiles do have a technology even in them, but either way I won't go on about that. But, as you can see, I'm quite untidy. Probably one of the most untidy people in Sydney. But there is Big Boy Cat. Now this video I have not had planned, and so I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about animals of the Matrix and even about my Big Boy Cat friend, or to explain his history. It's actually hard for me to talk on it. I really don't know if I actually can. Big Boy's now probably about 13 years old. that I do not know when he was originally born or came here, because he befriended me probably, maybe 2 years after he was already here. Because he just come up to me one day and said hello, and I liked him because he's not overly physical, in the sense that I can pat him now, but I didn't pat him for quite a few years because of my fear of touching everything, which is OCD, which I'm not too happy to admit to. But he didn't mind. He wasn't like some cats that come up and rub themselves all against you. I was never keen on that, because you've got that fear of germs. But he just come up and would stand next to me. Mind you, most cats are indoor cats anyway. In a way, there's not that many cats on the street, but he's a street cat. As the old lady that used to also give him food that lives next door to where he lives, she used to feed him too, and she used to say, he's not bad for a street cat, is he? Well, he's not bad for a street cat. In other words, a cat that lives outdoors all the time, summer and winter, and, has a few friends around that try to make his life a little bit more comfortable. But, look, this cat likes me quite a bit, as you can see, probably. Notice how he just jilted his leg up there? Did you notice how he just moved his leg a slight bit? Look, I'm going to show you something that you may or may not believe, okay? I know it's true because I have been experiencing it with the cat for... I knew the dog was technologically controlled by the Matrix 3.5 years ago. In other words, very right at the start, from when the Matrix opened up and exposed itself and came down on me. However you want to put it. I put it that way because it opened up and exposed, but it also came down because it was negative. Nothing positive about it for a long, long time, and still nothing positive, but at least I'm no longer in the dark. Now, I'm very nervous here, and I'm not used to having the mobile phone anywhere except on the kitchen table, which is why I don't film outside and do stuff, okay? I should have started filming outside when I go outside. Like I went outside there, just outside the front door, to show you the plane coming over me. Because when I go outside the door, they do that. Especially when they had more planes. They've got less at the moment, but as you can see, they still have their flight path over the roof of the house. Now, yes, we have a lot of rubbish around. I'm sorry, a lot of stuff. Yes, you could probably... is this like a little mini supermarket? I'm sorry, I don't know, it just seemed funny to me that I've got so much stuff around. But, don't forget that a lot of people did buy a lot more stuff in a fear state. For some people it's toilet rolls. For others like myself, it's tissues and the usual. Of course, we have to have the disinfectant for the worldwide epidemic type of thing. But I have had this for a lifetime. In fact, many people have made fun of it that know me over the years. But either way, I need to get a bit serious here, I think. Well, serious but light-hearted. You can take all this in a funny way if you want it. If you want to make this a funny cat video or a funny human person video with a funny cat, you can. There is Big Boy Cat, okay? He is sitting because he might toy with me though. He might toy with me because I'm filming. See, if I was on my own with him, just here now, like I sometimes bring him in just for a little chat, shall we say. Usually he really just comes in for a little snack. But in recent times, I realised, of course I've realised the dog is technologically controlled or infiltrated since 3.5 years ago. I've realised that straight away as soon as the Matrix opened up. That was one of the first things I noticed, because the dog, became different and worked against me. And then I just randomly, out of the blue, for no reason, thought, can I communicate with the dog? Can I communicate with the dog knowing that this is really a human mind inside the dog? That when I say a human mind or a human-like entity, it's just the plane going over, I'll just let it go over. Now, but a human mind inside the dog, in the sense that it's an intelligent being. Okay? I don't know what the entity, of course, really is, but I know it's a dark entity, or at least it's dark for me, because it is working against me most of the time. Okay, so that's really all I can say. The dog that would have been my friend tended to work against me. The cat doesn't work against me, even though the cat is also possessed. Now, this is my friend, or was my friend. Now, you don't have to get nervous about that, big boy. You know that I know, and you know. And yes, you'll probably play possum and keep a low profile, yes, for the video, because this possession is not something that, of course, it is covert. I mean, the main thing with possession is that it's something you can't see. Now, I will try to explain how I communicate with a cat that is also another entity. See how he pulled his paw up then? That is acknowledgement. You'd say, well, no, he's just restless on the bench. No, when you read an animal and the animal is in sync with you and you understand this, then you know it to be so. I could prove, if this video was not running, I could probably even more or less prove it, but it is consciously being filmed by me, but they are all, the Matrix is also conscious of me filming. see. You see how he's saying, yes, that's right. By moving his feet up, that means that he agrees with what I'm saying. If I ask him a direct question and he pulls his paw up, however slightly, because that depends on how much control the entity has over the body of the actual animal. But I don't understand it. Like I say, I don't understand these things. I only observe. You know, I don't understand how this technology works. I don't understand even how possession works. But I observe it. I see it. It is a reality. The cat is squinting there. That means the cat likes me a lot, by the way. When animals close their eyes and look at you, that means they really like you. The real unpossessed big boy cat really liked me a lot and trusted me because he knew that I was the only one that would really help him out if push come to shove. You know, because Matrix people will be the very best people provided someone's watching. But if no one's watching, their true nature comes out and they don't really care too much about any life form except themselves or their own. That is the basis of even a psychopath. Much less real Matrix people. Now, I cannot do this video, I don't think. I'm feeling too stressed. It's too much for me, to be honest. All this, really. But I might just try, just for a second, seeing I've finally got the camera off the table and moving it. Because originally I got this mobile to take photos on the street, not because of the, well, not even because of the Matrix, but because I wanted to go back to how I was before the Matrix, to where I occasionally used to like to take photos of things around. It was like a hobby, so that I was, you know, kept me a bit interested in life, shall we say. Since then, of course, I've naturally lost that, even though I eventually took to making videos about the Matrix, as you know, which wouldn't have occurred to me that I would have been using a mobile for that when I actually bought it. But maybe I was meant to. I don't know. I can't say these things. But either way, that's what I do now, more or less. But I'm supposed to be using the dog, but it is much safer for me to use the cat, because the cat is not owned by anyone. The dog is not my dog, but it is owned by, you know, a very close relative. But it resides with me because the relative no longer resides with me. So that is why I have a dog, or Simba, the dog of the Matrix, you know. And I haven't got time I'm too exhausted to make a long video here about the animals of the Matrix, and I wasn't planning on it at all, but I went outside just to temporarily see if I could film that plane going over, just out of curiosity to see if it comes out on the camera. And then the cat come up, so now I've got a cat Matrix video. Now, big boy, are you going to play possum and keep a low profile, as the song goes? Or are you just playing, are you playing possum, keeping a low profile? Or are you just playing possum for a while? Or are you just going to play possum, yes, for a while, because I know you will? Because as soon as I turn the video off, put the mobile down, you will show yourself to me completely, won't you? There you go. Now, you see, you cannot read the cat the way I can, but I know the cat really well, and I am like a cat whisperer. You know how they say there's a horse whisperer and dog whisperers? That means you can read animals. Or you know what they're saying? Well, I know what this cat says. Only if it answers me. But like I say, it just moves its paw in direct answer to any question I ask it. But it has to be a yes. If it does nothing, that means a no. That's all I can ask is yes and no. I think I've said this before. I don't know if I have. It's not like I can have a conversation with a cat. I can talk to the cat like I'm doing now. But the cat can't have a conversation. But if I ask it a direct question, it can answer yes or no. Because although it has a intelligent mind inside of it that's taken over, there you go, he's telling me that. Yes, an intelligent mind has taken over my little big boy cat. He is in a cat body, so he can't communicate me as a one-on-one person would or a human would. He's limited by the cat body and by the fact that a cat can't talk language. Cat can only meow. Is that right, big boy? Are you going to show everyone what is the reality? He moved his paw then, okay. Or are you just going to play with me for the video and make me look silly? Oh, he's moved again, yes, so he's going to play with me and make me look stupid. And I thought you were my friend. But you do. He told me the other day that although he is possessed, and although he is in allegiance totally with the Matrix and the God entity, etc., because that's what happens when possession takes place, that he still has some, what's the word? He still has some, he not only has the memory of Big Boy, the original Big Boy, my friend cat, but which, you know, tells him that he can trust me and that I'm his friend and that he can get supper off me, etc., etc. But, and this is why I, in a way, originally was making a video. It's for the animals and the people who are in what I would call a double mind. And most aren't. And this just come to me. But like the cat, he is of the Matrix. He moved to, yes, that movement, when he gets up like that with all fours moving, any paw up, move from the ground is a yes or an acknowledgement that what I say is correct. Yes, you're thinking now, we better not watch her videos anymore because she's even more out of touch. Well, by the technological reality of the Matrix. But this possessed cat deal is too much. And the talking to the cat is too much. But as you can see, if I explain it, I'm not actually having a proper conversation. He's just moving his paw up in acknowledgement when I say something that is so, or if it's a yes to the question. Because that's all the cat can do, that's all the entity that is inside the cat can do to communicate with me, because there is no language, because the entity is not in a human body this time. This is not possession like in the innocence of the two children. This is possession of an animal. And so the animal, you know, and the animal would keep secrets too, but it knows I know, so it's openly been prepared to communicate at a limited level. See, it's moved there to say yes. Because the whole purpose of the matrix really is to keep everything a secret. For possession not to be kept a secret. Like in the innocence, the children have to keep the secret. They don't want the governess or anyone else to know that they're really leading a double life, that they're possessed. That's right, if you want to look at it, it's a double life. Everyone in the matrix, most people in the matrix are leading a double life. A false life. Yeah, the cats come right up to me there and smooched up against me as if to say, how spot on you are there. Because occasionally little old me is spot on. Should have the door open to show the plane going over, because if you weren't aware of the matrix and didn't feel a bit intimidated by those technological flying machines, you know, and weren't aware that they are controlled by technology and controlled by technological beings, etc., or those of the matrix, then you could go out there and say, oh, the lights are quite pretty on the plane, apart from the excessive noise, of course, when they come low. But, you know, it's a mindset. But you can't even have a positive mindset in the matrix when you become too aware of it, because you know that there's nothing really pretty about it. As a human being, I could actually do that. And in the past, I would have ran out there to take a photograph of those planes coming so low. Now I sit inside and cringe in fear and annoyance and anger at the negative vibration and at the reality that it's just one more thing that is showing you that you are surrounded more or less by a negative matrix. You know, it's an added thing. It's like if you have all cars and all aeroplanes and all people realizing they're the matrix, then it is like feeling as though you're trapped and surrounded by a negative reality. And whereas in the past you might have seen some of those planes as, like I say, interesting nighttime diversion with their lights on, to where you'd take a photo and say that's interesting, that's fascinating, that's worthy of a photo even. Now, this is the most ridiculous video, and I'm embarrassed to be filming inside, I admit, because it's not just that it's messy and grubby, but I don't know, you know, it's not like yourself. I'm bad enough trying to get my thoughts coherent into a video, you know, at a verbal level, but when you're dealing with animals that you don't know how they will react, and just, as he's already said that he will make a fool of me. Come here, big boy. Now, big boy, can I ask you a question? I'll ask it out loud. The plane's going to come over to cause a negative frequency here. I should have the door open. So don't forget that because the matrix reads my mind, and can read all human mind, and can download it to its matrix machine, to its demigods, to its disciples, and basically anyone that it chooses or is under, you know, its control. You know, I'm not sure who or what knows what, shall we say. I don't have that detailed kind of knowledge. I only pick up what I observe myself and then say that's the reality, but how, I don't know. I can talk on the demigods because they are visible and because I see their actions very clearly, and they expose what their beliefs and ideas and what they are. But also you just see the matrix at some point, at some levels. That's part of the synchronicity thing that I've talked about. That's where everything that you see around you does have some significance. To where if you, a bit like in the They Live movie, where when the fella puts on the glasses, the billboards and things say different things to what they say on the billboards, but they're really saying that anyway. It's just that you don't see it. I would like to show you those planes. They're so impressive out there. If I could get that door open again, but it's a major effort for me with my gloves and all my restrictions. You see, if I was not so restricted and had a little less fear, because I actually am not as frightened in a real way as what real people are. I'm not frightened of the same things that the average person's frightened of. Although now the average person is frightened of touching things too because of the fear of spreading viruses and all this sort of stuff. But in the past, that's really my only main fear. Most other things I don't care about too much in comparison with most other people. So that's weird. I've said that before. Things that other people are frightened of, I'm not, and things that other people normally wouldn't be frightened of, I'm terrified of. So that's the matrix for you. I'm freezing cold. That's the only thing. I don't think I can go out here without a jacket. It's just too cold for me. Oh dear. But I want to show the plane. And I was going to try to interact with the cat to prove a point. A strange point for most, I would think. I don't know why I bother, but I'm trying it this time. Even though I know that I don't have to prove nothing to some of the people that listen, which is interesting. Just coming out here, and I do not know what is. But I will say this, there is definite playing possum here tonight. Of course you do have the lights on of the houses, but they're playing possum tonight. I have not come out here at any time in the last 2 years, 3 really, where the minute I come outside, a car does not come onto the street. Does not come out, or people don't come out of their houses, no matter what time of night or day, doesn't matter. But tonight, look at it, it's dead. This is because I'm filming. They don't want to show themselves. The planes don't mind. They obviously, there's another little cat, but he lives in the same house as my big boy. But they're outside cats though, and it's freezing out here, so I'm not sure how they stand it. I have to go in. Yeah, they're not going to show themselves. No, this matrix is, look, Woody, there we go. Oh, this matrix is, the minute, the dog's getting up now, so I'll have to close the door, because if he's blind, so if he goes out onto the street, he just could kill himself, walk into anything. I just can't do it, you see. I'm just not up for all this. Oh, no. Oh, dear. I nearly fell over myself. I'm too nervous and I can't get professional enough. And then closing and playing with videos and doors and things. You see, yes, us humans are the last hope for this reality, and you can see what you're left with, people. You're left with someone like myself that can't even, falling over themselves, can't open a door without using a pair of gloves, can't film a video. The Matrix just laughs and laughs at me like I am just, I'm just their big comedy show. But they still fear me a little bit too, which is kind of weird because, to be laughing at something really loud and then to have some fear as well. That is because, this is why I've rambled on and on and on. Oh, I just missed the plane, see, that was the whole idea, so I couldn't film it for you. But there's no cars on that street. Look, it doesn't matter what time I go out there, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, there will be cars coming up and down that street. No, they're playing possum. I don't want to be on my video. And yet they know that the people who watch my videos already know, but they still don't want it in your face either. Maybe some of you don't, maybe there's the dog's spewing up over there as if to say when he does that, that's like, yeah, that's right, but Putty, is everything I say so? He's fighting it. I don't know whether you can see it, but the technological being is fighting the cat, stopping him from saying yes to that. I know you think I'm crazy and it makes no sense, but, I can read the cat like a book. Yeah, see how the cat moved, got up and said, yeah, that's right. When they move completely with all fours, that means 100%. I know I'm exaggerating here, but look, it's just the way it is. This is the way it is. Now, Putty, come here, come over here. Come here, because we don't want at least tidy human beings, because that's right. Like, I am not a very good representation of a human being in a game that is folding up, an end time scenario. I've said before, you normally leave the best till last, but actually it's the worst till last, or maybe it's just all that's left, or maybe, I like to say that we've all been compromised to such an extent that whatever we really could have been or were meant to be has not been allowed to happen. That's the dog's moving around, bumping a lot there, so that's a kind of acknowledgement, I guess. Look, am I completely out of touch or not? Am I? Am I, Putty? Am I, big boy, completely out of touch? Or is it... Oh, you had... Well, that's not very nice. I guess I'm out of touch. Or is he just making me look stupid for the video? Animals will do this even normally. People say animals are not cooperative for photos or videos, but I could prove it with photos. I could prove everything I say with photographs, strangely enough. Obviously, I don't have the photos here. And yes, the photos. I'm getting angry here. So sorry, but the photos that I do have of... Because I do have some photos going back over the years of Big Boy. Not back to when he was real young, no, because I didn't even take photos then and, and had no reason to take photos of Cat. But I do have photos of Big Boy when I started to take a few photos about 5-6 years ago, when I just was given a little broken camera and I was walking around a bit more and started seeing scenery and just started taking some photos because I thought, hey, in fact I said at the time, I'll take these photos because maybe one day I won't be able to get to these little spots, even though they're only local, like they're within walking distance. But I was aware of that, and there could be some truth to that too, the way this world is and the way we are suppressed bodily and mentally and every other way in this reality. So I thought they might be nice to look back on. in 10 years' time, or 20 years, hopefully. But it's not looking so good even now. But either way, I took many pictures of the cat and even the dog too as well. And, those pictures I still have, but I cannot access them on the TV in the stick that I put in. I mentioned this on another video, but I don't know if it come out or whether I sent it out. I sent most of the... should be out there with those planes. Yeah, I'm missing them. But what I was going to say was that I even the last video, I started to watch it myself and said, I think I'm going to delete this video. It was like about 2 hours or something, and I think I'm not going to send it out. I've done that many times, but usually I end up sending them out. And I'm always surprised that some people watch, so then I say, oh, well, I'm glad I did send it out, because maybe they understand that, the videos are not... The videos are like a one-on-one conversation as opposed to a competent, informative video that keeps flowing, shall we say. I'm just not capable of doing that at the present time, nor have I been for a while. But I kind of think if I don't make any sense at all, I shouldn't be sending any video out. Whereas I think if maybe it's just, for some people, it's nice to hear someone say something that they can relate to where they say, well, that's confirming what they already know or what they experience maybe. That I would really like to know. So I know some people do experience the same as me, but not everyone that listens to the video might. So therefore, I'm trying to see. That's all I'm trying to say, is that I have photos that I can't access right now. No, and may not even be able to access it all if the matrix has its way. Because I got that stick and there was a new TV there to where it worked for a day or two, to where I was looking at old pictures 6 years ago of this same cat. This same cat. And they're there, and I watched them. And then on the third day, I was not able to access them. Yeah, the cat did that as if to say, yeah. Because even though I was not going to show them to anyone, I just wanted to visually reaffirm things to myself, even though I don't have to, because I know it. Because, if you knew someone, for instance, that had blonde hair and then the next day they've got red hair, you know that you're dealing with something different. Okay, that's just all I'm saying. You don't need a photo to say, oh, am I out of my mind, or is my memory wrong, or have I fell into another reality because the person that had blonde hair now has red hair, or vice versa, or whatever. No, you don't need that. But if you were going to show it to someone else, you might need that. If you were going to say to someone that didn't know that person, look, this is my, like you could say, like, for instance, this is my sister or brother. They used to have blonde hair, now they've got red hair. Of course, in the case of a human, they could dye their hair, so that's not valid. But I don't think that animals tend to change their appearance greatly, apart from getting old. In the case of the dog, nothing, very little. It's a lot harder because the dog has now aged and has a great big white face and stuff. So possession and all these things that I'm speaking of can be hard to visually prove to an outsider or to someone who doesn't know. But if people have, the cognitive dissonance like that, I could just prove that with so many people. Like, it's just, they will say that black is white, even though they should know different, because they don't want to accept that their reality is different either. You see, it's too difficult. That I understand completely. I would probably operate under cognitive dissonance now if the Matrix was invisible to me. Because, you know, it would just feel better. And that is the truth. I'm getting a headache here now. You know. But the Matrix won't allow that because of the frequency vibration issue, which is the basis of our reality. Because the Matrix doesn't want me to know and to, you know, the Matrix wants to remain in hiding. Doesn't it, Putty? Come on. You're not going to play for the camera. If this video wasn't rolling, the cat would be answering my questions completely. But you know, it's futile in some ways. In fact, you know, the cat moved then when I said it's futile. Yeah, and when he scratches on the thing there, that's like very confident. So it is a waste of time me doing this, but I could prove with photos that changes have taken place, okay? But I can't access them now either, even though I had to retrieve those photos. But, you know, if you knew how, look, the Matrix, it will play you and it will hinder you in any little endeavour. And I'm not sure why it's hindering me with this video. Yeah, that's a thumbs up too. That's what you call a thumbs up. You know, like, see, I read that with the cat when he scratched and moved up like that. You'd say this is all stupid, but that's because you can't read the cat, because you don't know the cat like me. And, you know, I have this communication with the cat, or the entity that is now inside the cat. Because the Matrix takes over everything. Doesn't it, big boy? Yeah, see, he moved his little foot up there. That means yes. And he has to move it the tiniest little bit. Because actually he normally just sits there. He doesn't tend to move once he takes a position. But don't forget that the cat reads my thoughts too. So every, you know, like I'm verbally speaking into the thing there, but I could also be thinking. So every thought that occurs to me, it can acknowledge too. Now, you know, because it's you'd say, is that telepathy? No, it's not it's not telepathy at all. It's the Matrix that has taken over the human mind. I don't know how to explain that. It's pretty devastating for me when I realised this. When I became aware of this, yeah, the cat's moving, it was the most devastating thing, even more than the physical bombardment by technology, shall we say. But the awareness that your mind can be read by Matrix and by other beings, especially as those are negative beings, as opposed to your natural, positive real human beings that you're not in contact with. I found that not only hard to accept, but intolerable to actually live with, to be honest. And I still do. But because I'm now aware that there is a game taking place and there is a position you have to take in it, you know, I don't, you know, you can't throw the towel in, as my father used to always say. He used to always say, never throw the towel in, no matter what the situation. Well, you know, it's not even, for me, it's not even like about throwing the towel in, but it is an intolerable, a totally intolerable situation for someone like me that as I've said before, is so antisocial in my own self and values privacy so much more than most people. Like, you know, that's just the way I am. So it's something that I found very hard to deal with. Yeah, the cat's just moved as if to say yes. It was perhaps, yeah, the hardest of everything that has been happening. But essentially that's what the matrix is, you see. That's what a matrix is. It is essentially a total surveillance, total suppression of a human being in every way. It's like you do not have the right to exist almost. That's how you feel. You feel that you do not have any right to exist or to live in this reality or in this world or even, you know, in the earth, shall we say. It's like you are here, but you are under our control. You as a real human being have no rights. We can't take your thinking from you. Well, actually, they do take, yeah, the cat moved. They do take your thinking from you. I was about to say they can't take your mind and your thinking from you. They can read it, but they can't take your kind of essence from you. I suppose that's about all I really could say. Or they may not be able to even change your mind. But yes, they know they can take your mind from you. In fact, that's exactly what it is. It's a mind takeover, and it's also, it's a body control takeover in a way. Like if you feel that you are watched all the time, and you feel that you know, you're surrounded type of thing. You know, you can still, if you're lucky, you can still maneuver your body and still get around a little bit. But, you know, you're not exactly jumping for joy and going outside and saying, oh, well, yeah, I can walk, and I can walk anywhere. But you're not walking alone, are you? No, but it's not like you're walking with a few friends and choosing to walk with some friends and have a chat. You are literally dragging half of your neighbourhood with you, or half of Leichhardt with you, or half of, you know, people watching you for no reason. When you are uncomfortable and self-conscious. And they're like, we want to make you uncomfortable and feel ill at ease in this world. We don't want you to live freely to where you, you know, to where you can relax and, you know, just enjoy breathing almost. You literally feel as though you can't breathe a lot of the time. You feel stifled and closed in. And that's exactly what it really is too. It's like claustrophobia, even when you go outside, because you feel that all the people around you are watching and surrounding you, all the traffic, you know, all this sort of thing. And all I've got left, my only friend in the world, well, that's not totally true. But no, that's not totally true. I do like to think that there are cats moved, that there are some people, even though they are not local and I can't touch them, and I can't reach them really at a true level. And this video that I'm making is perhaps my only connection to some humans that are in a similar position to myself. But apart from that, it's almost as though my only real friend left in the world is this. He's going up. He's going up. Oh, that was a pretty good jump for a big cat. It's almost, and this is pretty pathetical. This is going to be my closing pathetical scene. Could be a sad pathetical scene for the end of a movie, shall we say. I'm almost enjoying making this video on the last before I have to realise that I'm in a matrix. But is this what it's come to for me and for some of you, that your only real friend, or at least one that is in front of you, is a possessed cat in a matrix? Because the cat will stick to me even though it's possessed. Because even that dark being that's possessed it knows that I will probably protect it more than the matrix if what they call push comes to shove. That's if I still can, of course. So that's why I still look at the cat as a kind of friend, even though it is a possessed animal. Putty, is that true? Is it true, Putty, what I'm saying or not? Tell me the truth. Please tell me the truth. Come on. You're squinting your eyes at me, that means he really likes me. That's what even non-matrix cats do. I don't think there are very many non-matrix animals left. Are there many non-matrix animals left, Putty? Would you tell me that? Are there none left? He just moved his paw up. You're seriously telling me there's no non-matrix animals left?